Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is D Free, and welcome back to yet another Dragon Ball Z discussion video in which today I am not alone today, guys. I am joined by the man, the one and only Real to Real. How's it going, bro?
It's good. Thanks for having me, D Free.
No worries, man. It's always a pleasure time, you know. But today we are going to be discussing the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament and alternate ways it could have went versus, you know, how it's going now. We're also going to kind of talk about, you know, the wasting of characters, namely Piccolo and Vegeta. So, Mark, I know that you're really opposed to the way that Dragon Ball Super has been going so far. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but I really want to hear your thoughts first on the matter. How do you feel, so to say, about the way that the tournament has gone so far and how it's played out from beginning to where we are now, which is like episode 34? We're about to see Vegeta versus Frost at the time of this video, so anybody that comes later on understand where we're at. But how do you feel about that, Mark?
Okay, so as we were talking before we actually started this video, I actually was thinking about this. I was like, okay, so we just got done with the Fukatsu no F arc of Dragon Ball Super, where we got Frieza coming back. And what did we get in that arc? I just want to break it down for people because they don't seem to really be connecting the dots. But in that arc, we got basically everyone gathered up to fight Frieza. Majin Buu fell asleep. Piccolo got sidelined. Gohan just got kind of forgotten and was not really useful at all. God. And then, you know, Goku or Vegeta has to come in, save the day, and Goku and Vegeta have to come in and save the day, and all that stuff. But then we kind of take that, it was about 10, 11, 12 episode arc if you kind of stretch it and take all the filler episodes. It's just like those slice of life episodes beforehand and after. And then we go straight into the Battle of Gods, or not the Battle of Gods, but the Universe 6 tournament arc. And what has happened so far in this one, we've seen basically Majin Buu go to sleep. Gohan got sidelined. Piccolo got sidelined, beaten really easily by Frieza again. And all this, like, why? And we've taken out of like the 5 episodes that we've had thus far in the Universe 6 fights and everything in this series. Why have we had 3 episodes or so dedicated to Frost? Another Frieza character. It just makes no sense. I mean, a lot of people really hated how Frieza was dealt with in the original last couple episodes in the Frieza arc. Why are we spending so much more time with the Frieza character? And not just like a good Frieza character, but actually an evil freaking Frieza character, the exact same thing that we got the last 10 episodes. And I'm just kind of perplexed that everyone is kind of looking at this stuff and going, oh, Frost is a cool character, and everyone wants to make videos about Frost or talk about Frost. He's not a good character. He's going to get, in the next episode, it literally says in the description that Vegeta is going to come and beat him with one punch. The really big reveal and everything is going to be kind of getting to see what Hit's all about, kind of what loyalty stance that he takes and everything. That's going to be really exciting, but Frost is such a worthless character. I'm really, really kind of annoyed that everyone is just so jumping on his bandwagon.
No, I completely agree with you because I was like, Frost is a great character. He's awesome. I just loved everything about Frost initially, you know, because it was really cool because I wasn't really okay with them bringing a Frieza race character back again. Whenever we were introduced to the fighters for Universe 6, I was like, whatever, okay. They've got this robot, they've got Winnie the Pooh, they've got Frieza, they've got this soldier-looking guy, and they've got this weird-eyed Saiyan. I'm like, okay, whatever, funny designs, you got Monaka, fine, whatever. So then when we get into the Universe 6 stuff in the manga and the anime, and they say, okay, well, Frost is a good guy, I was like, okay. I really liked the contrast to Frieza because at that same time, I had always kind of in the back of my mind wondered what it would be like if Frieza was a good guy, if Frieza was one of the Z fighters, quote unquote, you know, if he could fight alongside these guys, you know what I'm saying? So I always thought that was a cool idea, but then I really, really, really do not like the way that they disposed of that really quickly. It was kind of like, it was like freaking generic how they did it too, because they built him up one episode. They were like, oh, and they made it a point, say, oh yeah, while we're fighting, I'm going to start talking about all the good deeds Frost has done and all this other stuff. He's a hero, all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay. It seemed really just like, you know, laid on a little too thick. And then in the next episode, it's like, oh, well, wait a minute. What did he do to Goku again? Oh, okay, so he must have cheated. So then he fights Piccolo, and then it's confirmed that he cheated. And then Vados is like, oh, it's just in his nature. So that basically means every Frieza race character, no matter how you interpret it, will be a jackass. That's basically what it means. And I'm like, well, okay, so what was the actual point? What did he accomplish? Because he served to knock Goku out the tournament. We don't know if Goku's going to come back. I don't think he's going to come back. And then what happened is he fights Piccolo. He serves to knock Piccolo out the tournament. Well, kind of, sort of, because what happens is Piccolo actually was going to win. Frost, of course, as I stated, cheated, and he knocked Piccolo out by cheating, but Jocko figured it out, and he was like, oh no, check him. And then it was discovered that he cheated. So by default, Frost would have lost, which meant that Goku and Piccolo should have been able to come back and fight, and they should have taken the wins, quote unquote. But what happens from there is Vegeta says, no, Piccolo has taken the L, and somehow Frost, despite cheating, is still able to compete in this damn tournament. How does that make sense? And then what really pisses me off, okay, is moving into the next episodes, Frost is still, like you said, a focal point. Why are we spending so much time on this character? He's already had his moment. It's already come and gone. His 15 minutes of fame are over. So, you know, he's still a main focal point, but then it feels like we're getting fan service where Goku, or where Vegeta, excuse me, is going to come in and quote unquote finally get the kill, even though he's not going to kill him. You know, he's going to get the revenge that he didn't get with Frieza because Goku came in last second and stole the glory from him. And I'm like, okay, so if that was all that Frost was here to do, okay, why did you waste Piccolo? We're going to get into that in a little bit. Why did you waste Piccolo? Why? I kind of understand Goku, fine. You could have just had Vegeta come in and then from there, you know, knock out Frost because he's insignificant. He's not important to the plot. That's the thing. He's not important to the plot. He's a freaking trope. He's there to show off other characters because what's going to happen is also from there, Hit's going to come in and do some crazy stuff to him. And it's like, well, he's just there to show off other people now. So what is the point of Frost specifically? And then, you know, kind of moving on to like what I was saying about the Piccolo thing, we see Piccolo basically outmaneuver Frost. He had him on the ropes. He did everything he needed to do. He strategically beat Frost at his own game, and he tied him up, and he was going to win. Frost said, hey, you are going to win, and that's when Frost, once again, cheated Piccolo out of the victory. I thought it was really cool to see Piccolo finally about to get a victory because the man takes L's like it's nobody's business. So, you know, I was like, okay, cool, awesome. And I also like the fact that Goku lost. I really like the fact that Goku lost because it was a loop. Be honest, a lot of people thought Goku was going to be the winner of the tournament. Once again, he may somehow miraculously come back because apparently this tournament's rules mean nothing because Frost is still fighting. He may somehow come back. I don't know. He may fight Hit. That was the advertised matchup and whatever the case is. But I feel like they are wasting characters and they're building up characters. And all along, this show has been the Goku and the Vegeta show. And they're still doing that. When they introduced, I know I'm on a tangent here, Mark. You can get in a second. But when they introduced the concept of this tournament, 5 versus 5, and they chose the competitors, I initially was really hyped about that. I was like, okay, somebody else is going to get the spotlight. We're going to see Majin Buu. We're going to see Piccolo. We're going to see this new freaking titty guy, Monaka, come in and kick some ass. And it's like, well, Monaka may still do some pretty cool stuff. Majin Buu was disqualified before the tournament even started, and they're still going on with that he sleeps forever, when in the Buu saga, the guy slept for 5 seconds. That doesn't make any sense. And then from there, like I said, Piccolo was entirely wasted. I can't deal with that. I don't like the way this is progressing, Mark. You want to jump in here now? I got to take a break.
No, definitely is. It's freaking hilarious. No, honestly, the one thing I think about with Piccolo and Buu, if you want to just throw those in, and also like Botamo and Magetta and all that, especially
Botamo was wasted so bad.
But we all knew that those two, like my big gripe with this going forward, I've talked about this in other videos, but my big gripe was we have 5 new fighters from Universe 6. And the one thing we were promised up and down, not just from Toriyama, but all the other YouTubers who just kind of had an inkling about what was going to happen and what we were going to see, right or wrong, was we were going to get 5 new characters, brand new characters, and we're going to actually see, like, get background stories, kind of learn about Universe 6 and all this stuff. And so we got the designs, and it's like, okay, well, Botama and Magetta, those guys are kind of weaklings. Now, from what we've seen from the episode 36 preview, or not preview, but also, like, just the synopsis and everything, is that Magetta's actually going to be less of a joke than we thought of, and that's actually kind of cool. I can't wait to see how that like proves it out. But he's still gonna lose. He's still gonna lose within an episode. And then so we have those two. They're like joke characters, and we have Hit. Everyone loves Hit. Like Hit's who the hell is Hit? But then we also have a Universe 6 and a Universe 6 Frieza. we've seen this stuff. It's not new. These are just like out of 5 fighters, we have 4 that are just basically padding for anything else that it makes no sense. Like, we only have basically one new character that we're all just like waiting on pins and needles just to see what he can do, who he is, and everything. And honestly, it's great news is like we're actually going to get to see a very big glimpse of it next week, hopefully, if the episode preview actually has something to say what we're actually going to see in the entire episode. And so that's like a really interesting idea. I can't wait to see what Hit can do. I can't wait to see if Hit's either good or bad, but we just don't know at this point. But he's the only interesting character. If you move into like anyone else, yeah, talking about like, okay, well, this is the Goku and Vegeta show. Well, okay, we're going to have 5 fighters from Universe 7 come in and fight. Hopefully they'll get their time in the spotlight, like one final hurrah. And that's why a lot of people wanted Gohan. Well, Gohan was sidelined, like I said. Majin Buu fell asleep. What the fuck? No, seriously, like Majin Buu and then Piccolo had a really awesome fight. I don't think we can actually say that Piccolo didn't have an awesome fight. Like the whole multi-form Macaca Senpo, totally badass, like just kind of being very strategic in a fight that he can't win in brute force was really cool. But yeah, like, why did it take him so long? My big gripe is, why did it take him so long to charge the damn thing? We've seen him charge that thing and shoot it at Imperfect Cell in a freaking instant. He had no reason to actually like sit there and charge it for 5 minutes like he did at the beginning of Z. So it was just really kind of a, okay, well, he's going to be doing this because we need him to lose and everything else. The biggest problem with this tournament, and I know that, I know if you go back and anyone who's seen like Dragon Ball or even in a little bit of Dragon Ball Z or even the one episode they did in GT, Dragon Ball tournaments don't last a whole long time. They're basically like all 10, 11 episodes. They don't take up like these giant dark tournament arcs like in Yu Yu Hakusho. But it's kind of the one thing we wanted. This is actually going way too fast because at the same time, it seems like it's going to end around episode 38. Like, that's when Hit and Manaka are going to like get into the ring and start duking it out to see who actually wins the fight. And like, why are we sitting here? Why are we watching this when it just feels like we're rushing in, not giving any new character, we're not giving any old characters their due. We're still focusing on Goku and Vegeta, and we're only introducing one interesting character at the very get-go of this who has anything that we can actually talk about or speculate over. And why is no one focusing on Hit? I mean, I know we all focus on Hit and there's not a lot to go on, but why is everyone focusing on Frost? Frost is done. He's a lame duck character. He's done. At this last episode, he's just Hit's gonna freaking kill him. And who's gonna wait to see why are we watching this? Why is it just a redo of the last arc that everyone hated?
Basically, and it's kind of all over the place too, because with the tournament and with the competitors, once again, I really thought that Frost was a good character initially, and I liked his concept, everything about Frost, and I feel like most people feel the same way. Everything about Frost was just awesome, but it was almost too good to be true. So then when they kind of pulled the rug out and they're like, well, yeah, he's not a good guy. He's actually a bad guy. He's basically Frieza. He's a space pirate too. It's like, well, what was the actual point? You basically just shit on everybody that watches the show. That's basically what you did. You said, okay, well, this guy's this way. Wait, never mind. Gotcha. Got him. He's not that good of a character. And I really didn't like that. And then when you talk about other competitors, we haven't heard anything about Vegeta. I still really hope Vegeta comes in with some awesome abilities. I don't care if he loses. He just can't be wasted like Botamo, because I feel like Botamo is he had a really cool ability, according to Jocko. If that's legitimate or not, we don't know, because he said probably. But I really liked Botamo's ability. I didn't like his design or anything else about him, but his ability was really cool. And I think that was one of the main things everybody was kind of looking forward to when it comes to Dragon Ball Super was okay, we're getting into new content. Where's the new content? We suffered through, 26 episodes or whatever. 27. And it's like 27 episodes. And we're like, okay, well, where's the new content? We're finally in the new content. And they're sitting here, like you said, they're rushing through it. We're seeing these fights take place at a freaking record pace. The arc is on pace to be done in a few weeks. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I really feel like, I don't want to say that the show's getting canceled. I've said that before. I've heard other people say it. I mean, that would be a hell of a thing because I feel like, we waited for this series to come back all these years. We finally got it. And honestly, the blame is not really on Toriyama. The blame isn't on Toyotaro because he's doing a fantastic job with the manga, but the blame is on Toei because I don't like the way they're handling this. There's padding where there doesn't need to be padding. They're basically rushing through things that don't need to be rushed. Their animation quality, while it's something that we've talked about before. It's partly an animation style. That's what they're going for as a desired look, but it's subpar. Everything about the show is subpar. The choreography is subpar. It's not what we expected. And I really had high hopes for this arc, but if they're going to continue doing it this way, I really don't see good things coming from it. Now, like I said, they may come back and, just drop a major bomb on us. This tournament may not end. They may have some crazy stuff happen because we'll have to see who gets the wish. Maybe there's actually going to be a villain. I know, Mark, you've speculated about Vados being the villain. Other villains, maybe there's somebody that's actually going to come in and be a legitimate villain because Beerus wasn't one. Frieza was doomed from the get-go. We need a brand new character that'll come in and really mess stuff up, finally instill some tension into this show because we're 40 episodes in almost in a few weeks, and there's still no tension here. It's like, what are we even doing? I feel like I'm kind of wasting my time. It's not to say, I know we're going off on rants, and mainly me. I know that, a lot of negative things are being said about this show. I still am pro Dragon Ball. I still love the show, but it just kind of hurts you to see all the different avenues they could go. I mean, they could, expand upon this so much more. They've laid the groundwork for so much material. They've said, okay, Vegeta and Goku are going to Universe 6. They've said, okay, let's go to Planet Salad. They've said, oh, there's 13, 12 universes, whatever the number is. And it's like, well, they're taking this pretty much the easiest route possible. That's basically what they're doing. And it's like, well, what was the point of introducing all these other concepts? I don't want to wait for specials and movies and all this other stuff, years down the line to kind of expand upon this stuff. If you're going to introduce it, I feel like you could have done, and this part is on Toriyama. This part specifically is on Toriyama. I feel like you could have done a better job with the storytelling because there was so much potential. That's the biggest problem. There's so much damn potential. And like I said, they've taken the easiest possible route. And I'm not okay with that.
I'm just going to jump in on the time of when you're talking about this being on Toriyama. I just want to make it clear that while I think that you're right about that, I feel like the main argument that way is saying, look, you can't just come in. And I know a lot of people have argued that this is actually brilliant of him. And I completely disagree because you just can't come in and introduce a ton of new content and new possibilities, but never explain them. It's just so interesting that Super has just seemed to be nothing but just a grab bag of ideas without actually having any woven story to actually explain or pay off any of these big original concepts that we're introducing into the series. And it's the thing about this that actually really annoys me, and I think it is the main issue that we have with everyone who's watching the series. It's not just the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. It's not just having a Universe 6 or 7 or 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like that. It's not the mirror. It's not having gods of destruction and all these new different gods and potentially everything else that can go with it, or the Namekian Book of Legends. It's the fact that it's all been introduced with seemingly no payoff and no real forethought of where it was going. It's not that and this is the way Dragon Ball has always been. It's always been kind of this loose fitting kind of idea of, okay, we're just going to get from point A to B to C to D to E to A to E to F and so on and so forth. But at the same time, by the time that they were done with Dragon Ball, even before they were done with Dragon Ball, they had a nice story going to help kind of resolve and tell the entire story of the original series itself. And they were able to kind of take kind of bits and pieces of that and jump into a new series with Dragon Ball Z and keep up that same tension and just kind of maturity that was left from the very tail end of Dragon Ball. And they even did that with Dragon Ball GT. I know a lot of people don't like to think of that, but Dragon Ball GT really tried something different. It didn't work. So they went back and they did something kind of familiar. And they obviously had a whole lot of love and understanding of at least the anime portion of the original series, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and they made the best possible sequel they could at the time. Now that got canceled, but with Dragon Ball Super, it just feels like it's just, there's no passion there. It's just someone who has a bunch of ideas, who is he's either been thinking of something or something, oh, isn't this cool, isn't that cool, isn't that cool, why don't I just introduce all this stuff? And so we're just left with all these pieces that we have to pick up as a self, like as our fandom and everything, our communities have to pick up all these pieces, and we have to try to determine what it means and how to like kind of expand upon this and ways that make all this stuff, like we can reconcile this not only with the series itself, but like us individually. And that's a big problem. I think that's the biggest problem Super is having at this point, is it's really putting a whole lot on its fans to kind of understand not just power scaling of the entire series, but motivations or just like the differences of its own universe or something that the series probably isn't ever going to explore. And if that's the only thing I can really say about it, is Dragon Ball Super is definitely taking way too much time and just kind of letting fans kind of think of it themselves, and is not telling a very compelling story.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything you said here. We want to know you guys' thoughts down below in the comments, how you guys feel about Dragon Ball Super's story progression and how things have been playing out so far, along with their utilization of characters or them basically not using other characters. So let us know down below in a comment. Everybody, be sure to check out Reel to Reel's channel. It'll be in the description down below. Once again, you guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. That is it for us. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.